I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai Bahasham Ha Rakakwadash. Double honors unto our apostle elders, which rule great millstone wall, and may the elect of the nation of Israel endure unto the end. Shalom wa abababal. I came across a couple of videos that's going to make it evident that we're coming into Isaiah 4:1. All right, with everything that's popping off in life, I came across these 3 videos of these 3 women, which I believe to be Israelite women, and they make a good point of needing a man. Okay, one talks about, these 2 on the right side. It would be the right side of your screen, I believe. The 2 in the glasses, they actually talk about, working in these last days being worthless. But I'll just let the videos play and you could understand.
Damn, if World War III is actually starting and we're gonna get bombed, I feel bad for everyone working corporate jobs. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, you are gonna be clickety-clacketing and then we're all gonna die. At least I had the foresight to quit my job and enjoy the last moments of life unemployed. Fun.
Which is an actual great thought, all right? Because you got Jake, all right, the Israelite, which looks like all these other nations, but it starts with the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians fulfilling prophecy, all right? And it says that Israel is like a homeborn slave, okay? All they know how to do is work for their master, all right? They're like sheep. They don't even know of the impending danger that is in front of them or behind them, all right? All around them. Because these other nations are confederate against us. They want to pretty much try to delete us from being on earth, all right? They want to make us extinct, okay? But it's going to actually fall upon their own head, all right? The judgment that they set for us is going to be set for them. But you can see this woman, just the style she talks and everything, you can tell she's a Jake woman, all right? She's an Israelite. All right, and I went through her channel a little bit, and she has lots of salt, all right? She's a Jake. But once again...
And if I die, at least I wasn't working my corporate job.
See, she's smarter than the average bear, you know what I'm saying? She said, at least I'm not wasting my time working a job where I'm going to be destroyed at. And it's true, because they're going to make you take the implantable microchip to keep the job. Through deception, they're going to say, hey, you want, and really there ain't going to be jobs pretty soon. It says the spirit of Egypt is going to fail, and they're going to go into these FEMA camps, and they're going to act like, if you take this implantable microchip, you're going to get all the comfort you need. You're going to get a bed, warm blankets, food, safety, right, protection, all this stuff, but really it's going to lead you to your destruction. All right. And these women, these Israelite women, they have a place to play in this salvation, and it's to be wives to the elect of the nation of Israel if they're unmarried. If they're married, they're to be loyal to their husband, until Yahushua returns. All right? Be faithful to your husband until Yahushua returns. But here's another young Israelite woman.
So we're literally going to war, and here I am selling fucking lipsticks. Like, it doesn't sit right with me anymore. I don't know what to do. So
and the reason it doesn't sit right is because the Lord's stirring them up. All right? He's giving them the knowledge, because our power is a God of knowledge. And he's giving them the knowledge of reality, saying, hey, she just said, we're going to war and I'm over here selling fucking lipstick. Really, you should be examining yourself. How do I protect myself? How am I going to be delivered? That's really what you should be thinking of. How am I going to be saved from a nuclear destruction? All right. And really, the Lord set a way for us to escape this. All right. And you got to come back into order. And the order that was given was the man is over the woman. See, women going to work is them trying to not need a man. I don't need a man because I got money, I got a job, I got a place, I got a car. All right. But the Lord, He wants you to need a man. All right. That's your whole purpose. You women were created to need a man to survive. All right. And the Lord wants you to come back to that order that He created. It says in 1 Corinthians 11, verse 3, but I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach. So Yahweh, Son, Yahweh Shai is controlling all men, right? Yahweh is putting forth the commandment. Yahweh Shai is making it happen. And the head of the woman is the man. And the head of Hamashiach is Yahweh. All right? So that's the order. Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, man, and then woman, and then child. You see? So this is the order the Lord wants you to return to. But a lot of these women, they don't, they say, I don't need a man, right? A lot of them, they want to be with all kinds of different men, all right? So they're going to be destroyed in that unbelief, that unfaithfulness. It tells you in Isaiah 3, verse 8, for Jerusalem is ruined and Judah is fallen, because their tongue and their doings are against Yahweh. Yahweh never put the woman on the earth to work a corporate job or to have many sex partners. It says to provoke the eyes of His glory, right? Or a man cutting off his rod to become like a woman. The show of their countenance does witness against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom. And see, that's what's been able to go on in these workplaces, is a lot of sin amongst Israel, right? Adultery, and a lot of this stuff is in the sodomite spirit, right? A man sleeping with another man's wife, that man literally is committing an act of pretty much laying in that man's flesh, because that woman belongs to that man, all right? And that's a sin unto death. All right. There's much sin that goes on in these places. I'm sure everybody knows, you've seen it, right? There's adultery. There's even the job is a form of idolatry. All right. So the Lord's going to destroy them in their unfaithfulness. It says the show of their countenance, just the way they look, is enough to put them to death in the eyes of the Lord. Doth witness against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom, which the pride, right? The proud look is an abomination before the Lord. They hide it not, because they're proud of being Sodomites. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. Say ye to the righteous, it shall be well with him, for they shall eat the fruit of their doings, which we're going to receive salvation, just as we've been prophesying. Because all the other prophecies have come, are going to come to pass. We're seeing them come to pass right now. We've been prophesying and they're being fulfilled. All right. Soon they're going to make an implantable microchip mandatory for buying and selling. If you accept that, that will lead to your destruction in the lake of fire, or being burnt up by chariots over there in the valley of Jehoshaphat, because they're going to draft and send a lot of these young men and women over there into that valley of Jehoshaphat, which goes from Turkey down to Yemen, and the Lord's going to destroy you there. Look it up. It's chariot fire, all right, which you know as a so-called UFO. All right, Yahweh Shai is coming from heaven on a so-called UFO the size of a mountain, and He's going to burn you up in that valley of Jehoshaphat, the valley where Yahweh's judgment will take place on the armies of Esau. Now, Esau's kingdom being Babylon the Great, America, all right, which is going to be destroyed by nuclear missiles, all right? But for the righteous, it's going to be well for us, and we're going to see our salvation, even our enemies. It says, woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for the reward of his hands shall be given him. As for my people, it says, children are their oppressors, which I'm going to get this in the NLT. It says it better. It says in the NLT, childish leaders oppress my people, and women rule over them. See, and a lot of women, they're proud because they've been able to get a job, have a so-called position of rank, buy a house, get a loan, own a car, maybe two, sleep with different men and women, right? So this world is, this really America, starting with America, this world is fucked up. Oh, my people, your leaders mislead you, right? Because they teach these women, and I'm talking about the women because it's pertaining to Isaiah 4:1 and how this prophecy is coming to pass. All right? They're waking up to their leaders saying, this was a bunch of bullshit. I received a bunch of lies, right? Fucking being a career woman ain't it, right? Being alone, living with a bunch of dogs because you're afraid and you can't sleep at night, so you're drinking all kinds of liquor, right? You're trying to sleep with all kinds of different men, find security, but these women are there's a remnant of women of the nation of Israel that are waking up just like the men. But it started with the men first, and now it's setting in. Why? Because the perilous times. All right, women, they love comfort. All right, so when it gets uncomfortable, that's when they get roused up to do something about it. All right, and it's going to get real uncomfortable in Jacob's trouble when all these comforts are taken away, like electricity, like going to the store and eating food that has already been processed. All right, so these comforts are going to be taken away, but there's women of our nation that are waking up to really the 9 to 5 is a waste of life. All right, and it really is. We were not put here on earth to do a 9 to 5. Our original duty was to serve Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. But because we sinned, we've been put in slavery under the heathen, and they taught us to worship idols. All right, like that dollar bill with their face on it. All right, they're gonna do the same with that implantable microchip. If you want to eat, you want to drink, you're gonna have to take this implantable microchip. But it's gonna condemn you, just like that job, right? You work fucking 40 years at a job, and then you can't even retire. You gotta go work at Walmart as a doorman because you can't afford to live. You see? So they're gonna mislead you into this implantable microchip. They're gonna deceive you. All right? It says they send you down the wrong road to destruction. So take heed and be not deceived. We have a sure word of prophecy, and the prophecies are speaking. All right, because we're in the last days.
Damn, if World War III is actually starting and we're gonna get bombed, I feel bad for everyone working corporate jobs.
So we're literally going to war, and here I am selling fucking lipsticks. Like, it doesn't sit right with me anymore. I don't know what to do. So we're literally.
Listen, before the world ends, can I just get a husband? Like, can the world end after I have my husband, so at least I can die in his arms?
See, and she's joking around, all right? But it's true. That's why she's doing it. You know, it's true. It's comedy is made after the truth, all right? So this is true. This is how these women are starting to feel, all right? And eventually they're going to go back, you know, they're all of them really, but the ones that are allowed to receive salvation are the Israelite women that have been chosen. But all these women are pretty much going to go back to their natural state of needing a man. They have no choice when the system shuts down. All right, if you look in Gaza, when you see these videos of chaos, it's men. All right, women are the weaker vessels, so they're going to have to hide and depend on a man. You see, but if you have the wrong man, the Lord will destroy him in the famine looking for bread. right? Fighting over the bread. But for the elect, the Lord's going to give us bread, just like he gave us our daily bread. All right, but it tells you in 2nd Ezra 16 and 30. Let's see here. 33, it says, the virgin shall mourn having no bridegrooms, because all these young men are going to go and die in the war. All right, they're going to join the military or be drafted and join because that's the only job left is to serve the government. And when you go into this man's government, they're going to make you take a implantable microchip to be part of his police force, be part of his military. All right. And when they send you over into the valley of Jehoshaphat, you're going to meet your fate, which is to die by fire. All right. Yahweh Shai is coming down from heaven with a chariot, what you know as a so-called UFO, and he's going to burn all those troops up, just like in the movie Independence Day. All right. And then over here in America, you know, they're going to make it mandatory also that you have an implantable microchip, which that will be worldwide for buying and selling. And if you accept it, you're going to be destroyed here by nuclear destruction, which is the fate of America. The Lord's going to avenge us, and those reprobates that didn't listen to us, they're going to die here in that nuclear fire. All right. So it says, the virgin shall mourn having no bridegrooms, because all these men are going to die in war. The women shall mourn having no husbands, because the whole time they had a chance to get a husband, they wasted it on their so-called career, wasted it on their so-called party life, you know, being single, you know, being whores, whatever the fuck they were looking at and investing in. It's going to be their shame. Having no husbands, their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. And just in an instant, look at all these Jake women that their husbands are being taken away by these kidnappings of ICE, right? They go up and just kidnap your husband out of the blue, and then all of a sudden you ain't got no man. And the whole time you was depending on this man, and you ain't got no man. That's a terrible thing for a woman. See? How much more when it's war? You know? And there's no hope of you finding another man. And if you do, this man may mistreat you worse than, you know, than when the system was up. Put you, pimp you, and prostitute you to different men for his ability to get things, right? Or start eating you like that movie Bad Batch, when they show Texas as a state of cannibalism, and they got that woman, they're eating her from her feet up, so she stays alive longer. They're eating pieces of her legs and arms until they get to the organs, so she stays alive longer, right? These are the things that are about to take place, all right? This is why Esau put the military in the streets, which is martial law, all right? Don't get it twisted, all right? That's martial law. Marines mean air and water, sea and water, all right? Martial goes back to the water law. So the Marines being in the streets of America, you are under martial law, all right? And it's only going to get worse until you recognize it, but by then it will be too late. All right, because the Lord's going to hide us and protect us, not hide us like as afraid, like we're afraid of these devils, but so that we could be out the way while he brings forth the sword, which is the devil, the so-called white race, and they're going to have their way. I shared a video, you know, about the bounty hunter telling you, I'm coming down with a squad, and we're going to have pleasure, you know, fucking you up. You know, and he said the government's going to pay us $1,500 a piece for you. And what are you going to do? Pay me more so I don't fuck with you? You see? And the easiest target is going to be these single women. All right? It's going to be these single women. But now going back to Isaiah 4:1, talking about these women cleaving to the husband. It says in Isaiah 4:1, and in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. And that's what this woman's dealing with right here. She's making a joke out of it, but it's true. These women, they feel ashamed because they never fulfilled the purpose of being a real woman. They were a career woman, they were an independent woman, but they were never a real woman. Which a real woman,
if World War III is actually
wants to have a husband
before
and
the world
children.
ends, can I just get a husband? Like, can the world end after I have my husband, so at least I can die in his arms?
Right, because it's a shame for a woman to be without a husband. And that's what she's, emphasizing on, is that she wants a husband before she dies. Why? Because the shame. Once again, Isaiah 4:1. It says, in fact, I'll get it in the NLT. It says, in that day, so few men will be left because they're going to go to the war. They're going to die in the streets fighting over the bread. That 7 women will fight for each man, saying, let us all marry you. We will provide our own food and clothing. Only let us take your name so we won't be mocked as old maids, unmarried women. Because there's a shame with that. All right? And the Lord's going to use the men as a way of salvation for the women of the nation of Israel. It's in 1 Timothy 2, verse 15, notwithstanding. So this means notwithstanding, meaning them that understand. All right? You don't understand, then you're going to be destroyed, just like that one woman said. Right here.
Sin before.
if World War III is actually starting and we're gonna get bombed, I feel bad for everyone working corporate jobs. Like, I'm so sorry. Like,
see, those are the ones that don't understand.
You are gonna be clickety clacketing, and then poof, we're all gonna die.
Which it's gonna be worse than that, because these women, they're gonna have to fight for their lives. A lot of them, they're gonna be, as it says in the scriptures. Let me just read it. It's in Isaiah 13. Went too far. Isaiah 13. It says right here. It says in verse 15, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. So if you take that implantable microchip, you're going to be destroyed with nuclear missiles. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. All right? So that's what's going to happen. These women are going to be ravished, meaning R-A-P-E-D. Zechariah 14, verse 2, for I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle. So the fight is against the Israelite and for their land. All right, they want to put us into a new form of slavery, which is that implantable microchip. And the nations are fighting over our land, the holy land of Israel. It says, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished. So what are they going to do? R-A-P-E-D, R-A-P-E, women. And half of the city shall go forth into captivity, which you're going to go into FEMA camps, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Then shall Yahweh go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle, which he's going to send his son Yahushai to fight for us, and he's going to avenge us by destroying America, by putting it in the hearts of these heathen kings to shoot nuclear missiles on Babylon the Great, who are to be destroyed. And Yahushua, he's going to destroy all the military of the world gathered in the valley of Jehoshaphat. He's going to destroy them there with that laser that comes out of the mouth of the chariot, which it tells you in 2nd Ezra 13, right? And I believe it's like 8. It says, no, 11. It says, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, which comes out of the chariot fire, the fire that comes out of the chariots, and the great tempest, the nuclear destruction of America, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, which is the armies that are going to be the militaries of Esau that are going to be gathered in the valley of Jehoshaphat, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. See, because it's going to be a terrible thing. And that's why these women are going to want to be in the arms of a man, because it's going to be terrifying. But with that, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Ha-Rakakodash. Double honors unto our apostle elders, which rule great millstone well, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom wa abababal.